Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am so glad you guys are here with me today. Once again, I have a great show lined up for y'all, and we're going to be talking about the frequency gap today. All right, a lot of you guys might have noticed that we're living on kind of different frequencies from the people that are around us these days. Now, is it like a timeline jump, a timeline shift? Are we just living in parallel universes right here beside each other? We're going to explore that today. Okay, because as we reach a higher state of consciousness, we begin to experience this frequency gap, much like on the radio station. You know, like when you're turning through the radio station back in the olden days, you switch to the different frequencies, and as we begin to let go of some of these negative thoughts and stop living in fear, we start raising our vibration, raising our consciousness levels, and we're not going to kind of meld so well with those people that haven't done that. So as we recalibrate our frequency, I encourage everyone to be a part of my high vibe tribe, okay? Because I got a high vibe tribe. And hey, everybody in chat, thank you all so much for being here today. Okay, and someone who has been part of my tribe for about 20 years now. This is one of my oldest friends. My friend Luis Velez is here, and he was kind of like a conspiracy theorist before I really knew what a conspiracy theorist was back in the day. He's an entrepreneur, and he has a podcast called the ACTJ Podcast. This guy's been fighting the system for many years and is a wealth of knowledge. And I've got Luis here with me today, and we're going to talk about this frequency gap and stepping out of the matrix today. What's up, Luis?
What's going on, Jessica? How are you?
Hey, I'm awesome. I'm so glad to see you. It's been a while.
This is a real treat. I'll tell you what. It's not only good to see you, it's good to hear you. I'm glad that you're, have come to these vibrational places and are talking about it. I mean, you're doing it. You're on the forefront.
Oh, well, heck yeah. And you dusted off your microphone just for me today. So I can really appreciate that, Luis. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, we chatting in DMs about, frequency and all these things that you kind of were pitying me because I have to battle these people, on my pages and whatnot in the comments. And I think you were just kind of being funny, but at the same time, there's this break right now, where I've been doing this for a long time, but I've never taken it out on anybody else, any anger or any approach where I've been like, oh, I'm mad at the human that's being corrupted by the system. I've never taken that approach. I've never looked at I've always looked at them as either victims, not to be pitied, but to be helped or to be, shaken up, because these are our brothers and sisters. But recently, like you're talking about, it doesn't seem to be as effective or as useful. It just seems like there's these different paths and different realities and different truths, to where in the 90s and in the 2000s, when we were, hanging out and partying and whatnot, that wasn't the case. Like, we all kind of wanted the same things: peace, unity, happiness, like that type of stuff. Now it's not enough.
Yeah. Well, that was really interesting that you bring that up, because yes, I was watching your social media you were getting crucified like on social media just for standing up for your beliefs and just putting some truths out there. And I always wondered, I mean, it went at least a year went by, Luis, where I was watching your Facebook page wondering, why are you not blocking these people and deleting comments and stuff? Because the teeth came out and like the claws, it's almost as though when you start to try to break people out of their 3D matrix reality, they fight back and they don't want to be led astray from their comfortable little 3D box that they live in.
They materialize as real Mr. Andersons. I mean, they literally are a, a part of the system at that point. They become so infused with it that they sit there and they seek out anything that's trying to disrupt it, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like it went from being something that I thought that I could with words and with communications and with longevity, like I chose, it was Friendster when we first started. It went from
Friendster.
Friendster,
Back, I
MySpace.
knew you back then, probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and MySpace was big, and everybody was kind of doing their artistic thing on there, and it was beautiful, and it was starting
Oh
this,
yeah.
this community vibe. And then Facebook came by, and for some reason, I chose not to be on it. At that point, I was on a different frequency, and I was talking too crazy, and I didn't want to be on. I was still thinking that they were going to use this to track us and all this stuff, which of course is the case. But now it's like
Right.
ubiquitous. Fucking Alexa's doing all that for, or my phone's already doing all that.
Oh
But
yeah.
but then Facebook came around, and I was like really fighting it. But then when I started doing more video production, I was like, all right, I got to get on there. This is the way to reach the right audience. And so, but I wasn't really conspiratorial when I got on there. I was just on there enjoying it. And then it became this thing, like where we were arguing with each other, and I thought that this was going to be a good point where, okay, now you can go back to 2009 and see that I've been saying the exact same shit about the exact same people and predicting what they're going to do based on the shit that they're telling us they're going to do to us. I
Right.
thought I was going to be like, lauded and like praised, and I'd have my little parade at some point. But that the flowers never came, and instead I just got the claws, and I was ready to defend it because I was principled.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to manipulate anybody. I've always just been curious, and I know how things work, and I want to find out how everything works. That's just what I've been since I was 18 years old.
Wow. Yeah. One person that did have a MySpace was Amanda Barr. She's in the chat right now. That's our friend, Luis.
What's up, Amanda? It's been a long
What's
time.
up, Amanda? Yeah. What I really, what I was having trouble understanding how, I wasn't really having trouble understanding why the people were attacking you on your social media, because I saw through it. I knew what was going on, but the fact that you left it all up there and were interacting with everyone and you were actually being pretty polite, for the most part
That's always been
about
my
all of it. And but what it did, it was almost like the way I looked at it, I was like, this is kind of like an experiment. This shows you the state of our society right now, where we've all been so divided, and it's by design, in my opinion. But it all came out on that page, and a lot of people do block and do delete, and so you don't get to see it like it was on display on your page.
Right.
So I just thought that was really interesting, and so I applaud you for putting up with that for so long. I think you finally started deleting people about a week ago, right?
A week ago, I put it out there that I will.
Okay.
If people are not being honest anymore, because what I'm getting is parrots. I'm getting people that just come on there, and as soon as they see anything, they just bombard it with meaningless stuff, like Q or this or that, these new things, right? And I've been doing this since 1999, 2000.
Mhm.
And I've been coming at it from a left, what I thought was a socialistic left, being raised poor and making something of yourself. You're always like looking back and being like, all right, we got to help everybody we can, and that's always been my mentality. It's like, all right, we don't need to destroy capitalism, but let's, with the abundance, let's help everybody. There's no reason why we shouldn't have, that's kind of my mentality has always been like, we can do better.
Right. I'm right there with you. And you mentioned abundance, and it's all about your mindset when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I feel like we have been bombarded by a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of debt and frustration and hatred, and just a lot of division. And that stops us from being abundant. Okay. It stops us from being able to manifest the things that we want into our lives. And so I don't know about you, but I mean, I've seen as though I've lost friendships over the past few years. And, my closest friends, of course, will always be friends, but I've lost, connections with family as well, over the way society is being kind of divided right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can feel you. I mean, I've lost I've lost friends that was a one-way street where I was helping them only. You know, like I've lost people that I was literally, you know, I've helped them only, and they just have the feeling to come to me and be like, "Hey, we're no longer friends now because of this thought that you have."
Yeah.
You know, and I
That's
thought that
sad.
was yeah, and I thought that was fascinating. I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll miss you." You know, it's like
Yeah.
I don't know what people want from that. Like I don't know what the point of just turning people off is. If we're supposed to live in a democracy, or if we're supposed to live in something where we're a melting pot, you can't turn off people. You can't do that. You know, like that makes no
Yeah.
sense. And only one thing wins with that mentality prevailing, and that's an elite. That's a top. That's a system. If they can control that, then
Hmm.
you know, and then you know, the thing is, like, people always want to talk about issues outside of a vacuum. You know, it's like, okay, I have context. You know, like, remember they lied us into war, the WMD thing. Like, this
Hmm.
is still the same politicians, like almost verbatim, the same ones in elite positions. You know,
Yeah.
John
That's
Kerry.
right.
Like, you know, it's like, where is your vitriol towards them? Why are you being programmed to attack people like me that have no power? Literally, my
Yeah.
power comes from all of us uniting. That's it. That's why I continue to have this faith. I'm a broken idealist. That's what I am. I'm
Yeah.
a disheartened idealist. I'm somebody who was so idealistic when they were young. So idealistic. That's it. That's all I was.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way everyone should be. We should have ideals and have dreams and dream big, um, instead of being made to feel small, and like we don't matter, because we all matter.
We
Everybody
all do.
matters. Yeah, and you have a very strong voice, Luis. Not just physically, but just spiritually. You really do. And you had a really cool podcast, and I watched some episodes of it. It's you guys haven't done any episodes in a while. Tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Well, you know, I was doing kind of when everything started, and I thought that I literally thought that for the last 20 years that you know, actually last 10 years, I really right around 2009, I realized that I was losing friends because of how abrasive I was being and how demanding I
Yeah,
was being. And I was like, all right, let me just chill, let everybody live their lives. Everybody's going to do well. And if they do some shit, I've said enough to where they'll come to me and we'll fucking create a plan to resist, right? Because you don't take over,
right.
you don't destroy, or you just resist. That's all you do, right? And so I thought that was going to be the case. But when 2020 happened and the shit was so obvious what was going on, and everybody's going towards fear, you know,
Mhm.
away from community, away from other humans, like I became not fearful of anything particular, fearful that the history is being lost, right?
Mhm.
It's the dots are not being connected. So I thought I would put together the things that changed my way of thinking into knowing that we live in a corrupt system, that almost everything
Yeah.
is a lie, right? From the universities to what they teach. I used to think that depopulation was a necessary thing. I don't think that
Wow.
anymore.
Yeah.
That was a deprogramming that I had to do. I
Yeah.
was believing that we were too many people, this, that, and the other. You know, it's like I was there because I had gone to university. That's what they
Yeah.
were teaching me.
I actually I remember having that thought too. I mean, I literally, I was my minor was in gender studies.
Mhm.
Okay. And but of course I had a job working at a women's agency. So, it made sense. And yeah, I came out of college really having to deprogram myself. And that's of course what we're talking about today is kind of the deprogramming process of being in that educational system,
Right.
and having these thoughts like, why did I think it was okay to, get rid of a whole bunch of people in the world or something? Like it just
Right.
doesn't make sense now, but it
Exactly. And
made
then you,
sense back
yeah.
then.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, what I wanted to do was I was doing like a little personal podcast just to kind of lay the foundation of what the conspiracy as I see it. Because to me, there's only one conspiracy. You know, everybody wants to talk about, oh, there's this
Mhm.
conspiracy, there's that conspiracy. There's only one conspiracy, and that's centralized banking. Centralized banking has subverted every other institution, every other human being, every other media, anything that has existed has not existed as long as banks have, and
Mhm.
they have subverted everything, and they're at the final stages of their pure subversion, and that stamp of approval will be that central digital dollar that's tied to a social credit score that's linked to a biometric warning system for travel, for food getting, for everything. That's the final stamp of their
That's
Stamp
right.
Act, because this is really just the digitization of their initial attempt at this, which was the Stamp Act. This is all it is. It's the same fucking people. It's literally the same people. So there's one conspiracy. But anyways, what we were doing at ACTJ was I was all the way on my left side, and I was meeting up with people that were conservatives or libertarians, and we were just discussing honestly what we were seeing happening at 2020, because like I had been thrown out of my liberal left socialistic people, like a group. Like I was no longer a part of them. Like they were like, nope, you're alt-right, you're white supremacist. Even I'm Puerto Rican, but
Aren't
all
you?
of a sudden
Aren't you Puerto Rican?
yeah,
Yes.
to the T, and all of a sudden I'm a white supremacist alt-right guy, and I'm just like, holy
Right.
shit.
It's just it's so weird how everything has gotten so jumbled and upside down.
Yeah,
In there. So
so the ACTJ was, one of my friends, who didn't believe the shit that I believed at first, and we were just all having conversations about it, just honest. You could see us go. You can go back for 2 years. 2.5 years. We talked about this, and it got to the point where we were just go, because we were all around the world. About if something was going on in Denver, I would go and talk to the people doing it. If something was going on over here, well, something was going on in January 6th, and one of our guys went over there, and he got in trouble. He got in trouble with he was being a literal journalist and got in trouble. And we saw it all go down. And then all of a sudden, all of his friends bailed on him because they started calling him a terrorist and January 6th guy. He was literally just there because it was an event. So we saw that happen. And that
was a debacle, right?
We lost any kind of opportunities that we were having for the funding. And then he had a lot to deal with his family. So we stopped doing it for a while, and we shouldn't have, but we did. And the thing is, like, what I realized is doing that show and doing my personal show, it just brings it all the weight just right here. So doing these type of shows, it's a lot. You seem cheery, you seem to do it for only an hour, but it weighs on you the whole fucking day. It weighs on you, like everything. And you want to be articulate, and you want to get us to a proper place to where we can resist and fight together. So it's like you feel the weight of everything, right?
Right. Oh, I know. I have a show or two. I have several shows.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So see, I'm mostly talking about Bigfoot and Dogman.
I love it. I love it.
But it's all kind of connected here. Like we're all first of all, we're all one. Okay, right. All the energies are kind of connected in some way. And what we're doing is we're here to expose the truth about stuff and to give our experiences with no matter what it is, from any kind of, like the protests that your friends were at and got in trouble for, and all this stuff, censorship, hiding the truth. I mean, my remote viewing show, I'm always uncovering all these government cover-ups that are going on even on cryptids, Luis, Bigfoot, Dogman, aliens, UFOs, all this stuff. In some way, it's just all connected. And for us to be able to come on here and talk about it, it exposes that we are living in this matrix that someone else has made for us. And so here we are trying to break out of it. We're trying to break other people out.
But I have two things. I'll apologize for cursing. I'll try to keep it at a minimum.
I'll forgive you, Luis, just this once.
Yeah. It's an old habit.
Peter's in the chat. Peter's in here. He was like, language, Luis.
No, I got you. I'm on it.
It's okay.
There's more. It's
ways. Okay. I forgot to say, maybe let's try not to cuss today.
Yeah. But okay. So the other thing is supernatural, and it's funny how my logical engineering, I went to Georgia Tech, engineering background. That's how I see everything. I need to tangibly touch it. That's why that's why I was atheist for so long. It's because I couldn't tangibly touch it. And then like all of my studies, and I get deeper and deeper into the conspiracies, of what actually is. These people are withholding what we are as humans, which is telepathic powers to communicate. Which is, our creation may be from the Anunnaki, maybe, there's this, maybe there's that, the Sumerian text, there's all of this supernatural that links us to why we feel we're so special on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much knowledge that is being kept from us. There's technology that's being kept from us. there's so much that's being kept from us that could make the society better, could make our lives better, could make us live longer, and really just expand our consciousness. And so putting the truth out there, first of all, is just going to expand the consciousness of everyone. And I think that at this point, this is what our world needs, because we need to raise the vibration of the whole planet, because we're going through so many changes right now. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I've been called to share my stories. And
Right.
so, yeah, and I know you got some good stories. So that's
I
why I
have some
wanted you to
fun
come on
ones
today.
sometimes when I get into it, but it's usually like my thing is like I'm like a wind up toy. And the wind up mechanism is other people interested or other people talking. You know, like if they ask the right questions or if their curiosity is piqued, then it's like it just starts up. Like so I want to write a book one day because I kind of see the timeline so easily, and I just feel that people don't see it. Like even like our wars, like if we just take this is a cool topic that I like to kind of bring to people sometimes, is our wars here have all been bankers' wars. It's like the Revolutionary War was a reaction to the Stamp Act. The War of 1812 was a reaction to us not reinstalling their international banking mechanism here. And the War of 1860 was honestly them taking a subversive strategy and bringing over all of these writers. This is when they started talking about the Mason-Dixon line. This is when they started calling us the North and the South, and they started dividing us. This is the first visual time that you can see them divide us. And then they used
the Great Divide.
And they used this thing that they had been doing themselves. They're the ones that were doing the free state, other state, the slave state. So they were the ones that were creating this division. They're the system, like the humans that were here were not the ones that were oppressing everybody. We were just as much of a victim. We were just given a little more, or those people were just given a little bit more. That's it. They were just given a little bit more. They became indentured servants instead of slaves. That's it. Yeah. They did that in 1600s because we were united, blacks, whites, because it wasn't white people back then. It was people of. It was Germans, it was France, it was French, it was Irish, it was, these people were Italians. These people were proud of where the fuck they were coming from. They weren't just white. That's a new phenomenon, so like it was all of those people that shouldn't have been together, joining together. And they did one thing. They said, black people are slaves forever. Those people are indentured servants. They can still continue to work towards this shit. They've been dividing us since the beginning of our country. This country has always been a thorn in the side of their imperialistic ideas. And that's why the Belt and Road Initiative was so scary to hear about in the 2000s, is because it's literally them going back to their old world, using China, Russia, and Israel, and leaving America the F out of it.
Yeah.
How's that, Peter?
Yeah, no, honestly, there's just so much, there's so much division. I mean, we all see it every single day. And honestly, our history is not exactly what they've taught us too about what's going on, and our school books are all changed to fit somebody's narrative, all right, and to steer society in a certain direction. And so as me having a child, I have a second grader.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's really scary. And, I'm not completely able to just homeschool him, and so I do send him to public school, and I have to be very careful. I mean, he comes home with books where he came home with a book one time. I would not let him read it because there's some sort of, I don't know what kind of agenda this is, but it was actually kind of racist and stuff. And I was like, why would they make my second grader read this book? Okay. So yeah, you just have to pay attention. That's what it is.
And it's funny because like you were a part of the clan that we had created, around Atlanta.
Yeah.
I literally thought we had defeated racism.
Oh my God.
We went into the clubs of Atlanta. Like,
yeah,
it was black, white having a good ass time.
Yes.
Like, we defeated racism in Atlanta, I thought. Like,
well, when all of our time spent running the streets, Luis, you and I. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. We've come a long way personally on our personal journeys. However, society has kind of like gone haywire when it comes to stuff like that. We're still friends with a lot of those same people. I'm sure. I know I am, but not on the same level. Like, I'm just, we've all gone in different directions.
It brings you back to that frequency gap.
Yeah. It's the frequency. We're all on different radio stations.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is frequency? It's like it's the
Yeah.
oscillating of waves, right? Sound, anything. It's just a wave. It's just like noticing the very tip of the wave. That's it. I think Hertz noticed it and
Yeah.
got that name. So that's all it is. And we know that everything about us is vibration. It's
Frequency,
electromagnetics.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because electrons is also just waves. And so everything is based off this frequency that you can create with your mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes fear is good because you need to get the heck out of a place, right? Like if
Oh,
a
yeah.
cougar is around the corner and you notice it, that fear is going to tighten you up to get what's needed to get
Yeah.
out of there. But
Yeah.
when you're just existing, there's a love vibration. And the love vibration just leads to openness and accepting
Yeah.
and dealing and coping. And those are the things that the love vibration can bring you on. And this is something that's stuck with me since I've been digging into conspiracy, is
Yeah.
that there's two vibrations. And you can either base everything off of fear or base everything off of love. And I've chosen love, and I feel like that's a good guiding light.
Yeah. Well, shoot. Yeah. I mean, I've chosen love too, and I don't appreciate having fear pushed into my
Yeah.
TV shows all the time and commercials. And I mean, even when I'm watching YouTube, oh my God, some of these commercials, y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize if there's any weird commercials on my shows, y'all.
Commercial free for 20 years, man. I've
Yeah.
literally lived my life. I'll pay the extra for YouTube. I'll
Oh,
pay a
you
little
do?
extra. I pay
I
a
need
little
to do
extra
that.
for dude, I can't watch commercials. Like it hurts. It's like a thorn being pushed in me. So I don't have, my TV is right here and this is how it looks.
Yeah.
I can't the camera's over. Damn. But it's like on a roll and it's like covered in green.
Oh, it's got t-shirts on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well,
Use it as
Luis,
my green screen holder.
the green screen, the green t-shirt screen. Yeah. Well, Luis, so it said that we create our own matrix in our own minds. And the matrix is shaped by things that we ingest, things that and that's from the TV shows to the things we eat and all that kind of stuff. So that means that we are able to change our reality just by a thought, by a word. They say words are spells, right?
That's what they
And
are.
yeah, and so when we're talking to ourselves, I'm always telling people, I'm like, be gentle on yourself, be gentle with yourself. It's advice that I need to take myself sometimes, but
Mm.
just it's the truth. Be gentle with your words, with yourselves. Be careful how you talk to your children. Be careful what you say to your friends, and just the thoughts that you have. And sometimes I find those commercials. Um, let's say, for instance, there's one on YouTube that keeps coming up, and it will not stop coming up, and it's like, this is terrible. It's a children's hospital, okay, and it's children that are dying, okay, and I see that, and it makes me very sad, and it also starts making me think about my own son being sick. So, like, in some weird sick way, I'm thinking, well, what if somebody's like trying to make me manifest my son getting sick? I mean, is that so far off?
No, no, no,
Or
no. Because this is all in context of, now you got to bring in Operation Paperclip. Now you got to
yeah,
bring in MK Ultra. Now you got to bring in what they've been doing to our subconscious, because they decided that our subconscious is overpowering, right? And so what they do is they constantly feed our subconscious, and that is what's creating the matrix. How we then
wow,
display that subconscious is the matrix, right? So they are
yeah,
feeding the system beforehand. That's the subconscious, and
man.
that's what they're doing.
So we have to learn how to control it. Not only control our minds, our own minds. Um, we
Well, we
got
have to
to take away
empty
the
our
control.
subconscious. We have to empty our
Yeah,
subconscious of theirs and put back in just a natural subconscious of eating, consuming good foods for fuel. Thinking of food as fuel as opposed to a product. Like if not consuming things that are made in plastic, making decisions based on how you would like to see the world. It's like
yeah,
you make yourself useful by the actions that you do, that
yeah,
and you fear not. I don't know, it just, I don't know, it's like you said, it's a different frequency. It seems so easy. I've never felt like I'm doing this. I've always felt guided. I've always felt
yeah.
like I've been like put into situations. I've been protected from situations. Like there's times where like I don't know, it's just, so I feel I am part of something that's one,
Mhm.
and I'm
Yeah.
doing nothing. I'm nothing special. When I went to Georgia Tech, I never thought that I was smart. I was like, man, those motherfuckers are. Oh, sorry. Those guys are smart. Like I met people that were really
Yeah.
smart, and I was like, that guy is smart. I'm not smart. I can see and observe and think,
Mhm.
but there are people that are radically smart. You
Yeah.
know, I'm
Well, I
not.
think you're smart and you got street smarts. Listen, if it weren't for all the dumb stuff we did back when you and I used to hang out, okay, we did some dumb stuff probably. I'm just gonna say, I don't know. We had a lot of fun. Let's just put it that way.
For
If
sure.
it had not been for that phase of my life, I would not be the wise woman that I am today. Okay.
But,
So
but hold on, Jessica, because like what I'd like to say is that what we were was alternative. That what we were
alternative.
doing was
I like that.
was a
Okay.
form of revolution from the norm because we knew we could take it to a different level. That's the
Yes.
baseline for young kids now. Like like what we were experiencing from 18 to 25, they're experiencing at 12 to 17, it seems like now.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's radically changing our conversations as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's why going back to like my kid having to really watch what he's ingesting and taking in, even through the schools. And
Right.
hold on, or I don't know. Am I back?
I
Okay,
think so. I thought the
okay.
matrix.
Sorry, I froze. I froze. Occasionally, my when I start talking and getting very excited, my computer screen freezes. Okay, so but yeah, we definitely have to watch what our kids are ingesting and taking in, because I don't want my son to be growing up at 12 years old, like doing the things I did when I was in 20. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's just part of it's how society is right now, I guess.
Right.
But
And that's another key to us getting back is we've stopped talking generationally. Like the people that are at top have not, they deal in generational wealth and generational agendas. But the humans, not only are we barely talking to each other in our own age groups, but we don't talk to generations like we used to. Like we don't have a relationship with the older generation, and we don't have a
yeah,
relationship with the younger generation. We can barely
yeah.
like we can. I mean, I'm only 20 years removed from what I thought was cool, and I can barely have a conversation with people under 17. Like I
Oh
don't know
my
the words that
gosh.
they're saying. I don't know the meanings. I don't know the points.
You don't
That
know the
they,
acronyms
yeah,
for
none
the
of it.
acronyms for the text messages and
And
stuff. I don't
I don't think that this is by coincidence. I think this is a
know.
part of a plan that allows them to put us in these enslavement boxes that they're seeking to do.
Yeah. You know, a friend of mine who's been on my show, I call him a friend because I've had him on my show, but Frank Jacob, I love this guy. He's based out of Germany, and he's been talking a lot. He's been getting banned all over the world, especially in Germany, from speaking engagements because he's been talking about like the social credit scores and all that kind of stuff, and how it's being implemented here in the United States. And he's also really big onto the timeline splits. He's got a film out called A Tale of Two Timelines, and oh man, it really. If anybody was wondering, like, why am I so far removed from the people around me these days, and why are we on two? We're on separate timelines, and for somehow it's like we're living together in like some parallel universe right here on Earth. Um, oh, you know what? That actually reminds me.
So do you
Totally
think
getting
we live
off.
in a simulation?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't always know. I really don't know. I think, yes, sometimes I do.
I
Yeah,
got a super sticker.
I do. Oh, I do. Thank you. Thank you, Forrest Louis. You're so sweet. Thank you for that super sticker. Yeah. Yeah, I do sometimes. I mean, sometimes I feel like it's like somebody just hits a button and it changes the program. Do you know what I mean? Is it that, or did we jump timelines? Okay. Uh, and we got the Mandela effect, right? What's that?
What's
What's up with the Mandela effect, Luis?
I think the same way that we lost our ability to communicate telepathically, um, like our first to me our first set of chains was words and
Yeah.
language. And if you even look at the, cursive is close to curse, spelling is close to spells.
It
It's like
is.
we've been trapping ourselves and limiting ourselves with the use of words from the very get go. So I mean, it's it's um it's difficult sometimes to understand the enormity of possibilities of this timeline, and also still communicate at a layman level to everybody, and it's a delicate dance. I mean, but I don't I don't want to put, I don't know, it's just like I want to be able to talk to everybody. It's like this is an everybody thing that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, and there's also the point of, as in regards to your Facebook page, okay, with all those comments that people were leaving and being like really kind of mean and just attacking you. Um, that's my opinion, yeah, I don't know. I just think that there comes a point to where we want to wake people up. Okay. But that's at this point, do you think there's any hope of still waking people up that aren't awake yet to the agenda and what's going on?
I don't think we need everybody. I think we
Yeah.
need everybody that wants to come, and everybody that's prepared themselves.
Hmm.
That's all we need. What we're
Yeah.
lacking is parallel institutions and parallel structures and an ability to
Yeah.
communicate with each other. Because when they take this shit away,
Yes.
they're going to take it away, and we're going to be
That
lost in that.
absolutely.
And we're going to
Okay, so
only rely on our telecommunications.
and that's right. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but I've been trained pretty extensively in remote viewing. And so my entire team, I have a team of remote viewers that go out and do Bigfoot field research, and I even have a show where I remote view weird stuff. Okay, and matter of fact, I remote viewed the Brown Mountain Lights tomorrow night, y'all. Y'all, please tune in. It's gonna be okay. But it's so important. It's like getting your mind right is number one when it comes to anything in everyday lives. We first of all we have to be able to change. This is part of breaking out the matrix, y'all. I'm letting you know a little secret. It's about getting your mind right. It's about being adaptable and being willing to change, because our lives are changing whether we want them to or not. And it's up to you whether you decide to take the red pill or the blue pill, stay still or keep moving. But we have to change our vibration as the Earth's vibration is changing right now, and part of that is getting in touch and with your telekinesis and your telepathy and noticing energies around you and noticing other people's energies, energy shifts and things like that. I mean, I feel like I've experienced timeline shifts in real time.
Yeah, we got
Okay.
to talk about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, almost like the whole environment just kind of shifts, and I'm like, oh wow, I think I may have just jumped a timeline. I don't know what just happened. Um, and I feel like, honestly, I feel personally like I experience timeline shifts all the time. I don't know, that that Mandela effect. I tell you what, that's where you start picking up on stuff like this. We're not crazy, Louise.
Well,
At
I'm
least I
not going
don't
to go
think
that
so.
far. I'm not going to go that far.
I don't think I'm too
there's,
crazy. I'm a
there's
little
a
bit
small chance
crazy.
I'm just crazy.
We're
There's
just
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought I'm growing out of my crazy phase though. I'm a different kind of crazy these days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
right.
I like to say radical these days. I think I'm radical.
Radical,
Yeah.
radical dude.
Yeah. I think I'll
Totally.
remain radical.
I guess radical, but you know what? I think it's just normal to me.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Like we're being radical for something that feels more human than anything else we can experience, which is
Yeah.
your your thoughts in the oneness of everything.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if people have done psychedelics, or if they believe really passionately about a religion, but
Mhm.
these things bring you close to this thing that you can't describe. It's like a belief or a faith in something so strong, and feeling so tangible that it becomes a power, an empowerment.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We got to empower ourselves, and it starts with understanding what we need, like the getting the tools together to be able to be empowered,
Mhm.
and going within. Okay, that's another thing about breaking out of the matrix. It's not looking to outside sources for answers.
Right.
Okay, we got to quit looking to the outside uh, for answers for other people. Thank you, Susie B, for that super sticker. You're awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
it's
all
just
about
better.
going within.
Mhm.
Yeah. And listening to your inner voice. And that means, and this is going to be hard for a lot of people, it means quietening your mind. Okay.
Declutter.
Decluttering, getting rid of, okay, I know people get irritated probably when I say this, because I'm like, you gotta get rid of anything that's not serving your highest good. And that includes people, and it includes like even cleaning your house out, having a yard sale, taking everything to Goodwill.
Yep.
In my case, I just take everything to Goodwill or to the thrift store.
I don't know. Did you freeze up again, or did I freeze up? Am I living in a matrix right now?
I always freeze. Hello, I'm back.
There you are.
I think I'm
Yeah,
back.
sort of.
Hello. I know. I'm sorry. My internet provider, I tell you what, it's
You're gonna have to have
frozen
a talk
sometimes.
with them.
I've
You're gonna
already
have
had
to
a
have
talk with them. I've had several, yeah. But
But
but anyways,
back to what you were saying. Yeah. No, I was gonna say,
what
but
was
back to
that?
what you were saying. Back to what you were saying is what I like to tell people is to learn to trust their instincts. Our instincts
Yes,
and our guttural feelings are there for a really good reason. That's ancestral. That shit is
yes,
handed down type stuff. Like
yeah,
those things are things that you have to hone and then learn to trust, right? Because how many times in your
yes,
life have you gotten the premonitions or gotten the thought, I shouldn't do this, and then override it, go do it, and you end up in a situation that you didn't deserve to be in or you don't need to be in, right?
yes. Oh my God, that pineal gland. Okay, it's that's why we're under attack when it comes to fluoride, and just having that calcified pineal gland. Okay, that's one of the most attacked organs in our body. I think it's an organ. It's a gland, right?
It's land at least.
Um, it is under attack more than just about anything else. A lot of people have a calcified pineal gland. Okay.
And calcification happens just without use too. And so
Yeah.
the ancients, and there's people that have tribes now that still use things like rapé and other things to constantly cleanse and open
Yeah.
that particular
Wow.
gland.
Well, see, we don't use them much anymore because now instead of doing telepathy, what do we have? We have a cell phone, right? We have cell phones. That's like the artificial type of telepathy. Like if we think of someone, we just call them on our
Yeah.
phone.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about it, these people it's the same thing. It's like, okay, the bankers, they have all the control. Why would they continue because they're also eugenicists and transhumanists. We went from
Hmm.
carbon base, which is what we are, to Silicon Valley. And that's what they're trying to take us to. They're
Oh,
removing, because when they take us away from carbon base and go to silicon base, they can then remove that consciousness, that soul, that thing, that
yeah.
mother brain that links us all. That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to achieve. They feel they've targeted, and they've targeted their enemy, which is our collective consciousness, and they're going after it. And they've even
Yeah.
named things like like they give us these clues, like they say carbon is bad, right? And
Right.
silicon is good, right?
How dare you? Yes,
What
I
a
know.
time to be alive.
Yes.
Like gratefulness and gratitude and all that. Like you wake up with it. I think it's just. I mean, because we live. I got depressed for the first time in my life in 2020. I didn't realize it until like I could take a step back, but like I was done for, man. I was so sad that we didn't come together and overthrow all of these inglorious, B words.
Yeah.
And like and so I just thought that there
Yeah.
were so many charlatans being exposed, so many things like celebrity culture being bought and paid for. They were all saying the exact same things,
Yeah.
like
It's like
without any
robots.
without any
Yeah.
proof. Like they were just going for it,
Yeah.
and everything was just fake and a lie. And I thought it was going to be so obvious because everybody's been dreading it anyways. It's not like we're all living in, this is not 1997 where everybody's having a good time too. It's like it's been a struggle. It's been a
Oh,
struggle.
big time.
And I just thought that now would be the time to point to them and be like, all right, look, this opulence, these oligarchs, these people that constantly get, it's time for them to not redistribute. It's no longer the question of that. It's we need to come back to the table. We
Yeah.
all need to come back to the table and let's talk about what this machinery is doing. Because is it going to give us time back in our lives, or is it just going to make profit for the people? This is a
Yeah.
conversation we need to start having. Like it's
Right.
like if we really want to make a change, like we need to bring everybody back to the table and let's talk about what this technology is going to do for us. Because if the technology can help y'all take all the resources and create this market world, y'all do that shit or stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all do that
Yeah.
and just give us enough food and enough shelter to us where we can live our lives how we want to, right?
Yeah.
I would take that deal with them.
Yeah.
I would take that deal. I would get my life back to not have to work their factories and their machines and their stuff. They can have all that technology to do all that stuff if they have a vision for it. Just give us enough to where we can form little fun communities.
Well, okay, so it's so interesting that you brought that up because it's so important to know how to be self-sustaining. I can't say it. Sustaining. Oh my gosh.
Don't anybody clip that.
It's so important, okay, to be able to take care of ourselves and to learn how to grow a garden and to go fishing and hunting and, well, if you're a meat eater, which a lot of people are, okay, I know I am. But it's just important to know how to build a shelter and to have survivalist skills of whatever kind, and not to say an apocalypse is coming in any way, but we do manifest our realities, right? And it's important to have the tools to be able to manifest if something, stuff does hit the fan one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is really cool. Next week on this show, on my daytime show, I'm going to have my friends Joelle and Jennifer on my show. And I met them at just Camp Disclosure last year. We're going to talk about the 144,000 star seeds. Okay. The chosen ones.
Yep. Interesting. Should be a good show. I will look forward to tuning in on that one. I don't know. Did she freeze up again? There you are.
Oh my God. Luis, did I freeze again? Oh my God. I'm just sitting there talking.
But listen, so one of the things that you brought up was survivalist, and I was watching this show. I was binge watching this show called Alone, which I don't get to watch shows a lot. But this show
love that show. Yes.
It literally it messed with me. It messed with me. It's like, man, I have none of those skills. I have the will. But even with those guys, you saw their bodies start to deteriorate and break down, and you start to look at food as a different mechanism than just I have a cheeseburger, I'll have chicken wings, I'll have this. It's different. Like you got to know, like, okay, this has enough fat in it. They've already taken all of this ancestral information from us and dropped this into this world. So we have a lot of work to do. To do. That show Alone made me feel not alone, but so behind the curve.
Felt alone. Yeah. Well, okay. So here's something very beautiful, right? When I met my Bigfoot research group, those guys were a bunch of survivalists and, hunters and just all around really well-rounded people. Right. And, weapons experts, snake bite experts, Reiki masters to, hypnosis people, and you name it. It's like an A team of like all these people with different skills. Right. And so what we did was we got together and we all started teaching each other our skills. Okay. And so we've been doing this for 12 years now, right? Almost 12 years. Everybody has at some point kind of taught each other what we know. And that's kind of where we need to go in our future. And we need to form communities like that. And before I got frozen that last time, I was going to
crystallize that. We need to crystallize what you just did and then broadcast that out.
Yeah. Yes. Well, so next week on my show, I'm going to be having a couple of friends of mine on who I met at a Starseed conference, the Camp Disclosure last year. Joelle and Jennifer, we're going to talk about the 144,000 star seeds that the Hopi Indians prophesized are here on Earth right now to build back a better Earth. Okay. And so we're going to be talking about that and how to manifest that. And where do we go from here? Because things seem so, dismal in a lot of ways for a lot of people. And like you said, Luis, you've been very depressed back in 2020. A lot of us were. I mean, we were all divided from our families and our jobs. And
I was feeling it. I felt disconnected from that thing that had been charging me my whole life. I felt like it was under attack. It had been chinked or something. But I went back, to being grateful. I went back to actually doing work, like physical work, manual work, where that was not allowed for about a year, and it all started changing. All the vibes, all the juices started flowing again. And I'm back on that wavelength. It's just, Who else?
Yeah.
Who's coming with us?
Exactly. Well, that's why we're broadcasting today. It's like, and it's so lovely having a YouTube channel and being able to talk about these things and bring my friends on like you, Luis, and
Mhm.
we can have these conversations.
Well, we did
Um,
a show at the ACTJ. We did a show with the Odyssey guy, and we moved all our stuff over to Odyssey. And I suggest that you have a backup mechanism with Odyssey. I can put you in touch with the head
yeah.
guy, and
You're talking about Rocky?
yeah. Well,
I
no,
know
there's another
Rocky.
guy too. There's that guy's cool, but no,
Yeah.
but okay. So
Ron?
you
I know
can
them.
yeah, get your thing on there because they can send you a little link where you just after
My shows are on there actually.
okay, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
then go to
Some
Odyssey.
of them.
YouTube,
Yeah.
YouTube will take her away at any moment. Odyssey will let
Yeah.
you keep it there forever.
Yes, I know Ron and Rocky. I've had meetings with them, and my remote viewing shows are on their channel, on
That's
their
awesome.
network.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Sorry,
And
I
I'm
thought I
on
was
Rumble and things like that. I actually need to update my Rumble because it is important to,
important.
yeah, we can get a warning and a strike and all that kind of weird stuff just for no reason, basically. I
Right.
mean, at least they
I've
don't give you a
they've
reason,
done it.
right?
Yeah, they've done it to me, so I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Is so do you guys still have your channel up for your
Yeah,
podcast?
so for all of our YouTube took us away completely. They've done
Okay.
that. They did that 3 different times while we were doing our show.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's when we got in touch with the Odyssey guys, and they backed up all the shows that we could back up.
Awesome.
Facebook took away a lot of access to our shows. All of our live broadcasts from the January 6th stuff gone. I mean, hours and
Yeah.
hours the day before, the day after. Gone, so we learned a hard lesson about content, and so we put it up on Odyssey. I have all my shows on Odyssey and YouTube, but randomly I don't know, I did 20 shows and wrote like almost historical type shows that I tried to do, and I think only 14 survived.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's really sad that we're being censored so much, And I've actually been kind of worried because on my daytime show, I've been bringing guests on like Jesus Payan. He played Gonzo on Breaking Bad,
That's awesome.
and Brown Dwarf who's in the chat today. And we've been talking about the Tartarian Empire and
That's a good
America's hidden history and the orphan trains and the repopulation and all. I'm really touching on stuff that I don't normally talk about,
right.
and it's kind of sensitive, and there's a vested interest in taking that stuff offline so
Yeah.
people don't think for themselves and look into it. Human cloning, what the heck is up with that? That's
Yeah,
a whole other show, right?
that is a whole nother show, but it's all it's that's a crazier one because like it sounds so far-fetched, and then when you get into it that there's already Canadian companies doing it, there's already
Yeah.
evidence in Dolly. I don't remember Dolly, the sheep or the
Oh, I do remember the sheep. Yeah,
they did
that
that
was
in the
cloned.
90s. They did that in the 90s, and that's when they did the regulation in the 90s as to who and why you can clone, and it left only a very few people to be able to do it. So
Well, of course they needed a monopoly on it, right?
yeah, that's
Got to have
yeah.
a monopoly.
The question that's not very spiritual that I like talking about
Mhm.
is capitalism versus socialism and what it actually means, and like Marxist ideas. What was that? Um, I think that's the conversation that if we ever do come up with an alternative to oligarchs or just a, a, um, a non-earned hierarchy, like these people are
Yeah.
just being given these positions. I think an alternative to that is having that conversation between what is capitalism and what is socialism, and what are they trying to mend. Like, is it the risk, is it the owner's risks versus the workers, like do the workers not have any risk, like, and as technology improves, who's going to benefit? Like, are we going to split that work? Now you only have to work 20 hours a week for the same pay, but we're going to make almost double our normal profit with these new machines. Like, where is that conversation? Like, and how
I
do we have
don't.
that conversation? Because I think that's a conversation of
Yeah.
adults that adults need to have. Because if we are,
Yeah.
because I was looking at that Alone show, and I just don't want to go all the way back there. I like some of the
Yeah. Right.
experiences that we have, that we get from technology, but where does it stop and where does it start to become an issue? Where does it start to become
Yeah.
a dominance thing? Because our whole systems have always been based off of the least amount of labor cost, right? Whether it
Yeah.
was slavery, whether it was indentured servitude, or whether it's now where we pretend like, like we have expensive labor here, but we know that we're getting all our stuff from China and Taiwan, where they don't get the same stuff. So we know what's going on still to this day. It's still the exact same conversation. That's the real adult conversation that we should be having if we were all on the right frequency and all on the right vibe and all
Right.
that stuff, is this idea of work and what's work for. And if we can use technology to improve, who benefits from that improvement?
Yeah.
That's the conversation I wish we were having.
Absolutely. I'm terrified of robots. I tell you what, I watched a video of the other day of like this smart robot thing. It looks like a human. And this girl was like trying to do an interview about it. And she was like, I mean, she was terrified of this robot. It looked like a person. And
Yeah,
so
well, they've deployed. San Francisco's deployed
I'm not
robots
cool with
that
that.
are killing you. I don't know if you know that, but they last month they just said
Yes.
that they have
Yeah.
lethal weapon. Those
Those
Boston
dogs.
dogs. They've released
That's
them
the
into
most
the
terrifying
wild.
thing. Yeah. I mean, I actually, like I do, I get a lot of messages in my dreams. And I had one dream where the robots had taken over. Okay. And they were hunting people down. And a lot of people lost their lives. We won't go there as a dream, I know, but still, it's in my subconscious, obviously, and there are messages. This is very dangerous to have all this AI stuff going on, and it's almost like we're losing touch with our humanity in a lot of
That's what they
ways.
want.
So what does it mean to you to be human, Luis? Do you have an answer for that?
Ah, man, that's good. I think what it means to be human is to be able to feel a range of emotions.
Yes.
Um, I think that the feeling of deep despair is just as human as the feeling of elation and joy or triumph. And I think those things are all humbling, and
Hmm.
they're all things that I think being human is the ability to be grateful. It's like a deer doesn't get to be grateful for that sip of drink.
Yeah.
It's just reacting da 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 da. But like we get to enjoy a cup of water sometime and just be like, or tea or a coffee, and just be like, damn, this is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what being human is.
Absolutely. It's all about being grateful and emotions. And I mean, there's so many things that make up being a human. But that is a very interesting question. I ask myself that quite a bit. I'm like, it's so nice to be a human. Experiencing all this wide range of emotions and experiencing all there is. I mean, that's kind of my mission
Yeah.
this lifetime, is just to experience everything, the highs and the lows, the high frequencies and the low frequencies, because
Yep.
you got to appreciate the high frequencies by experiencing the low ones. And so
That- that's
we're nobody to judge anyone else who's on their path, as long as they're on their path. But at this point, it's a good thing to try to find your tribe, and you're going to find your tribe by being on the same vibe. Geez, that rhymes. I like that. Right.
So
uh
you got to bring me back on. This is fun.
yeah. Oh my god, Louise, I'm
I'm
gonna
just
bring you
getting
back
warmed up.
on.
I got so much more.
Well, hopefully this inspires you to get going and be producing some more shows on your end, because you're a wealth of knowledge, man.
Everything
And
inspired me. Everything inspires me. It's just
yeah,
it's hard on me. I mean, like I have to get into the zone where it doesn't, like, it just affect. I know it's going to affect my feelings. Like if I start digging into all of that stuff that I have already done in the past, like it's hard. I did it
yeah,
for about 6 months, and I thought I was crushing it, and I was just like falling apart. Like I was just falling
yeah,
apart. I didn't realize it. But
yeah,
these shows are the type of show that I want to do. I want to put everything into it, so I know what I
yeah,
so I know what I want to do now. But now I have a lot more skills, and so I really want to do something. And if anybody wants to really start working on something that's not just podcasts and not just us conversating, we have to teach the youth. And so if anybody wants to
yeah.
get together and put together curriculum, put together things for that you would want to teach to youth at certain ages, like that's the things that we need to start librarying and racking up.
Oh my
I'd be
gosh.
willing to go with I'd be willing to work with anybody that's serious about anything like that. So And I think she froze again. There you are. I hear you. You're coming back to
Right, am I
life.
back? Am I back?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys, I swear to God, Comcast is getting a phone call again today. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, that's such a great idea, Luis. I've actually been in conversations with some people. We've been talking about perhaps putting together some programs for children to teach them how to do remote viewing and
Yeah.
to really enhance their psychic skills and work out their psychic muscles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that that's more important than ever right now for these kids because there's a generation of children that are here right now that are way more psychic than I am and a lot of us. And I think they have a very important purpose here. So it is about, really taking care of our children because they are the ones that are going to, we're here to plow, like,
Be good ancestors.
do the
Right?
trail. Yeah, to be good ancestors, but we're here to kind of break trail to try to, have to dig through all this and claw our way out of this, like whatever's going on right now, and then our kids are the ones that are going to really start cultivating and rebuilding, after we tear down whatever's going on that's not working. That's what I think. I don't know. I may be wrong, but
I
yeah.
think you're right around the corner, right in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyways, this is awesome, Luis. And yeah, I will be bringing you back on here. We got so many different topics. I mean, we were just talking about breaking out of the matrix today, but
Yeah.
It's
The
such a,
Tartarian one is always an interesting one to me because
yeah.
and it's kind of like the same thing with like all the other crazier ones that don't. My main one is the bankers one. So when flat earth or any of these other things come around and it starts to take away, I'm like, look, all that's cool, but the banks, let's get to the banks first, so. But the Tartarian one is just, it's too interesting for me to give up because it's
Okay.
it's one of those wild ones that, if true.
I think it's true. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think it is true. And all of this, just all the cities that were destroyed, and all the technology that was lost.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
The
with my
World's
remote
Fair.
viewing.
World's Fairs are the link that's like, God dang it.
Oh, I don't know.
There's. I mean, like those were futuristic beyond even to our understanding.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the giants, Luis. We got to talk about the giants too,
Yeah.
right? And so that's where I kind of get into like the whole Sasquatch thing too, and the cryptids and.
I think the Anunnaki is a conversation that I love having, because of the possibility, that we've just misinterpreted a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hey, listen, we're gonna save that for the next show. Okay, another show that we'll do. Yeah, for sure. Well, Luis, where can people find you if anybody wants to get in touch with you?
I'm modestly on Twitter. I feel like I'm now. They just they've relished me to just yelling into the void. My Facebook page doesn't get as much fun action as it used to, but you can find me on Facebook. You can DM me anytime. Twitter. We are going to start doing the show again. That is definitely a guarantee.
Okay.
Just don't know when. If it's going to, we were thinking about starting it before the holidays. I think we're going to try to do it after so we can get a nice running start. And then other than that, like I said, just, social medias. I don't know what the other ones are. Instagram, I'm not really on. I think I'm like a boomer when it comes to that stuff. Like I watch it when I wake up. I see all their little clips. I don't even own TikTok or any of that stuff. So like mostly Facebook and Twitter modestly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't even like the TikTok stuff. I'm not I was worried I was going to have to learn some dance moves for that. So, so yeah. Well,
you can find me downtown Denver all day in real life.
Oh yeah, yeah. Luis lives in Colorado, everybody. So y'all can go hit him up. Yeah.
Yeah, me in prime time. So.
That's awesome. And it's at Luis Starsky, okay, on social media if you guys are looking for Luis.
Yep, that was my alter ego so that I could talk all my conspiracy stuff and not threaten my my businesses, but it's all melded together. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, Luis, thank you so much for being here. And everybody, please, if you're looking for a really awesome holiday gift, my Etsy shop is wide open. I've got a sale going on, War Woman Goods on Etsy. I sell vintage Native American jewelry and things like that. So y'all go check that out, please. And yeah, man, this has been amazing. I'm so sorry I froze up those like 3 or 4 times today. That was weird. But when we're talking about the good stuff, something goes wrong. I tell you, it always happens that way. So that just means that we're talking about some stuff that people don't want to get out. Okay, yeah. I'm a conspiracy theorist too. Okay, but all right. Well, Luis, thank you so much for being here. You guys, please tune in tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I have remote viewed the Brown Mountain Lights, and that's in North Carolina. That's going to be a fantastic show. If anyone is interested in getting my remote viewing raw data, join my Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress. Okay, I'll put links below, and there's a link in the comments today in the live chat. So, Luis, I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everybody. You guys stay glitchy. Be the glitch in the Matrix. All right. We'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.